Yeah, so we see flight deck observatory, New Eden Observatory doing the thing that I just said I wouldn't be fond of them doing, going triple claymore, double broadsword curse, pair of Spiples, and a pair of Kierans.
Yeah, they kind of did. Well, that was sort of something I alluded to, where it was like, well, if somebody really, really, really does not want to fight a shield rush, sometimes your best option is to just shield rush them anyways by replacing ships with things that are similar. We talked about it last weekend, where broadswords still do about 700, 750 DPS, so they're not quite on par with the Sleipnir, but they're similar. Claymores are sort of in the same situation, where they're not quite on par as a Nighthawk, but they're similar. So they've chosen to shield rush anyways. So if somebody bans the shield rush out, maybe you should shield rush them anyways. Maybe not. We're gonna find out. However, Flight Deck brought kind of the other thing we were gonna say was gonna happen, which is Leshaks and a Vindicator. But more importantly, they do have arbitrators, which is going to really, really reduce the damage, potentially, depending on what they fit, that they take here. So it's going to be interesting.
Yeah, we're going to see in the first few seconds of this match whether or not that arbitrator has tracking disruption or missile disruption. If it has tracking disruption, it's going to be not particularly useful. We'd see some of that on the Spiples, but I'm very interested to see what this curse has brought as far as tracking disruption and how it uses its newts to work against the support core flight deck.
Yeah, if the curse has full tracking disruption mid slots, it can actually really, really mess up the Leshaks. And we are seeing both tracking disruptors and missile guidance disruptors going out all over the place. Vindicator is tackled by the broadswords. The broadswords are tackled by the Vindicator, and they're kind of just rushing in and brawling each other right now.
Yeah, we see all of the broadswords and the claymore are just stacking up on top of that Vindicator, just trying to pound into it at zero. Taking a look at the curse of Rith in the backline, just trying to apply some newts to what appears to be the Griffin, not wanting to have any sort of jams on the field. And they're just wrecking through that armor so far in exchange for only some of the shield of Galfang, who immediately then ran away.
I am assuming the curse actually or got jammed by the Griffin, because I would expect the curse to be spreading TDs and everything, or like nuding something else besides the Griffin, and it's only targeting the Griffin right now. So we are seeing that. And you see, as soon as the curse no longer has that ECM icon, a bunch of newts go out straight onto the Deacons, which is going to make that Vindicator go down even faster. The Vindy is going after one of the Claymores. We are starting to see that very, very high DPS going onto it. I'm not sure if they're going to be able to race and kill that Claymore before the Vindicator goes down, though. There's a huge swarm of Repbots on the Vindy, and there are no Smart Bombs going out, so that might be able to hold out. With the nuke pressure on both of those Deacons from Rith's Curse, it's going to be really, really rough.
Yeah, and speaking of some damage, we're seeing that the Griffin in the backline has been grabbed by the Svipal. So that Griffin's going to go down. Speaking of things going down, Claymore does drop. But if the Rose attack falls, it's worth it for one Claymore for a Vindicator.
I agree with you on that one. He is barely, barely, barely holding on, but he does go down. Those newts on those Deacons are very powerful. Curses are disgusting ships in general and should always be banned. And they are now looking to go onto one of the other Claymores. I think that these Claymores maybe should not have been sitting at zero, because there is still 2 Leshaks worth of damage on the field. Even though the Vindicator is down, that does not actually mean there's... it doesn't mean that they've taken out like the big key ships here. Like, all of those battleships are very, very powerful. We're just kind of waiting to see what the Leshaks are going to do. And they are spooling up on Nanshen, who is not tackled and could be running away right now, but he is not. You need to fly away.
Speaking of things that tried to run away but can't do it, both Spiples are on top of that Crucifier at zero. I don't see the Crucifier, even though it is trying to come back into range of those Deacons. It's not going to survive. It's going to pop, and then those 2 Spiples will be free to pick away at either the Deacons or add their damage to the Leshak.
Yeah, these Leshaks are actually surviving, though, and the big thing here is that as the damage ramps up on this Claymore, it's going to go down. The thing with Leshaks is you're never going to really see Leshak based teams have that incident where something barely catches at 20%, because they continue to do more and more DPS. This Claymore is slowly getting hit. He actually just lost like 60% of his structure in one go, and the Claymore does drop. So now we're going to be able to see if Fubuki is able to be caught now that so much DPS has already gone off the New Eden Observatory's team.
Yeah, and we're seeing a little bit of shield damage onto that Deacon. and some damage onto the Vexor. I'm not sure about the call on the Vexor here. Bart, we see so much damage drones. I feel like you either commit to the Leshak or you try to clear off the damage drones using your Spitebulls. But the Vexor call, I'm not sure what you get from that.
Yeah, I think they might be doing it because the Vexor, I'm guessing, is probably it's either full medium or for full small newts in the top. It is a no gun Vexor. It's actually sitting on top of one of their Kirans and newting him. So I think that New Eden Observatory was like, okay, we need to get our Kirans, like we need there to be no newt pressure on the Kirans. So they do take the Vexor down. It's going to reduce the amount of newt pressure going out on both of their Kirans by a significant amount. I don't think that was necessarily the right call, though, as that Leshak was sitting in about 50% armor, and they were working on it. Like, it was going down, and now the Leshaks are, they're going to try and go back onto it, but the Leshaks are ramped up quite a bit on Gemma, and he is dropping really, really quickly. So, yeah, you cleared the newts, but it's not going to matter. Leshak's ramping up is so much damage.
So New Eden Observatory is in a position where I think they're now making the right calls. Trying to get rid of the arbitrator, get some of the drone damage off the field, and they're putting both of their Spitebulls on top of the Deacon, and that Deacon being held up by the cloud of rep drones on top of it. I can understand maybe wanting to get rid of the Vexor to get rid of the newts and any sort of repair bots, but we may be in a position where New Eden Observatory tries to kill a pair of the Deacons, kill the arbitrator, and at that point, I might consider just running away from these Leshaks and trying to win it out on points.
Yeah, it's possible. I still think that you should have taken down that one Leshak, but they are taking the arbitrator down, and I think you're right that they're going to probably pop that Deacon right afterwards. Once this arbitrator goes down, like, you might as well. It's already at half armor. The two Svipples can probably solo it, but Cucumber is being ramped up on in the broadsword right now, and we've kind of seen it. We've seen it with the three claymores. The damage starts off slow, but as it gets stronger and stronger, they're just not able to rep through it, and there's still so much newt pressure out on those two Kirans. I believe they're both being hit by heavy newts by the Leshak, or mediums, depending on how the fit is. So, they have to get one of these Leshaks down. Like, I love the idea of trying to take down the small support wing, but they had him so low and they just chose to not finish him off. And now he's just kind of chilling there at 30% armor, and they're about to lose another DPS ship, and the Cucumber goes down.
Okay, so bit of a critical swap here. We saw both of the Spitebulls were on top of the Deacon of Hakwa CN in that Deacon. Both of the Spitebulls are giving up on that now, and they're putting all their damage onto Fubuki in the Leshak. They realized that they couldn't kill the Deacon through the cloud of rep drones that were on top of him, and also the Spitebulls were, frankly, like 10 kilometers away. They weren't closing range and being able to stay on top of the Deacon for whatever reason. Autocannons on those light ships doing the best when you're 1-2 kilometers away. At this point, I don't know if there's enough damage. We can see the attack bar from New Eden Observatory being fairly minuscule. They can't break a Leshak with what they've got left.
I mean, they might be able to. They are actually Galfing actually switched over to the Pontifex and is tackling him now and shooting him. I think that they might be kind of just having some poor target calling issues right now. Both of those Leshaks are ramped up on the broadsword of Yami now. Like I said, like, they had this opportunity to take a Leshak down, and they just did not follow through with it. And they're just trying to, I don't know, these Fipples they seem a little bit like, I don't know, pick an analogy, ship without a rudder, marine without a crayon. I don't know, but they're having some issues trying to, like, get through here. He's trying to take a Pontifex down solo, and that's just not working with the broadsword dropping now. You have two Swiffles, a Curse, and two Kirans. Like, I'm not really sure if you're going to be able to do anything with that.
I mean,
Because Fubuki's like almost back at full, or he's over 50% armor now. He's like self-repping.
I mean, look at the attack bar on New Eden Observatory. It says it all. I mean, they've got nothing left. Even if you do break a Leshak, you're down what is essentially 41 points with 2 minutes left. It's not going to happen.
Yeah, I don't know. They had an opportunity. It was so close, and I really loved the New Eden Observatory idea. Like, maybe if they had gone all in on the Leshak right off the bat, if they had taken him down before having two Leshaks slowly whittle down their broadswords, because you need to remember, like, they started off so far ahead. They traded a Vindicator for one Claymore. They almost got the Leshak, and then for some reason they're like, nah, we're not breaking him, guys. We have to switch, and here we are.
Yeah, I think we needed to see those Spitebulls really commit to either killing drones to get rid of the rep bots, or they needed to commit to putting all their damage into Leshak or killing a Deacon. they kind of went for half measures on all of the above, and it wasn't enough. And we see that as a result, Flight Deck is going to be taking it as the curse is trying to kite away in the last minute or so here, running towards what appears to be the boundary.
Yeah, and like the curse was never really harassed, and you did keep both those deacons neutered the whole time. I didn't really see a lot of mid slot stuff coming out from the New Eden Observatory curse because it was a shield curse. Not really sure how I feel about shield curses in general here, but yeah, gosh, like they had him so low. They had such an opportunity. I'm a little disappointed in the target calling from New Eden Observatory because the meta idea of like, oh, they don't want to use a shield rush, so let's use a shield rush. Like that's so just on topic and on meta and so like just fun and cool. And then they just didn't really fly it particularly well. But the curse does boundary. It looks like he made it. Oh, eh, not that far. He only got 130. So that does end up with Flight Deck winning 100 to 30 something. And I guess we're gonna run some ads and go back to it.